the overhead light is giving some extreme shine on the forehead. Hi everyone, my name is Audrey if you don't know me, if this is your first time here, and I do all sorts of videos, but today I wanted to do a video on moving. So I recently moved into a new apartment 2 weeks ago. Yes. Time is not real at this point in time. I am struggling without a full routine. So I actually wanted to share my top 10 tips on moving. They will cover both finding an apartment, like from the start where you're looking for some new apartment, to up until you're moving in and all the process of that fun stuff. I will give a disclaimer. My move, I would say this moving experience was the most normal. That being said, because previously I had moved into dorms. This is my second apartment. I live in New York City, so moving in New York City is a lot different. These are a little bit of generalized tips, but if you live in New York, I'm gonna go ahead and tell you it's very difficult to move, especially if you live in Manhattan. I'm not sure too much about the other boroughs, but they tend to be a little bit more suburban, but you know, suburban but crazy suburban. So we're gonna go ahead and get started. So the first tip I have is know your priorities. So what is the most important thing to you, and what is just a preference? So the most important thing to me, like when finding an apartment, was accessibility was the number one most important thing, and some sort of laundry facility either in the building or preferably in the unit. And I say preferably because laundry in unit would be a preference. If you watched my moving video, I did get laundry in the unit, so that's awesome. Very rare in New York, but awesome. So the likelihood of you finding the absolute perfect place that's within your budget, depending on what your budget is, you know, maybe it's not that high. You're not going to get every little thing that you absolutely want, but you need to find the things that meet exactly what you need. So I needed a building with an elevator. I live on the 5th floor. I can't take stairs due to disability, so absolutely 100% it's a priority that I have that. Whereas like laundry in the unit, multiple bathrooms, like dishwashers, that sort of thing are all preferences but not priorities. So the second tip, which goes along with that, is keep your options open. A lot of the time when you're moving, especially in a stressful time, and now we're in, COVID is a lot more different, and if you have deadlines when you need to move in by, or when you need to move out of an old place, but you need to keep your options open, because it's likely that you're going to want to jump on the first place you see, or one of the first of the, saying like the first day you go look for apartments, you're immediately going to want to move into one of those. But finding a new apartment or a house or whatnot can take several days, and you will find a place. Landlords and realtors want to move you in. It is their job. They get paid to do so. I saw recently that New York has like the highest number of empty apartments, some like 100,000. So there are plenty of apartments out there for you, and realtors are going to do their best to put you in one that will fit your needs. Research questions to ask ahead of time. So when you're looking for the first time, and especially if you're going by yourself and you're not with somebody who's gone through this process before, it's very easy to overlook questions. Also, if you're seeing multiple apartments in one day, a lot of the time realtors are going to try to rush you through apartments so that you can see the most options, but it is incredibly important to know which questions to ask and get as many questions out of the way as possible. I didn't actually include this, but I would also say that to bring as like a main point, but to bring a measuring tape if necessary, if you're really concerned on how big the room is. Asking questions about what size beds fit in each room, asking questions about how the super is, asking questions about how the building is handling COVID-19, any sort of thing like that is essential, because once you move in, I mean, there are people that will help you, but you don't kind of want to be finding out things that you don't like after you've already moved in. Be prepared to spend money. Moving is extremely expensive, and often you'll probably overlook how expensive it is based on like the idea of being nickeled and dimed, which is a term my mother loved to use. It's being nickeled and dimed. Like buying boxes, buying bubble wrap, buying all these little things adds up. So you're going to end up spending this amount of money. If you don't have a car, are you going to rent a U-Haul? That's going to cost money. Are you going to rent movers? If you live in Manhattan, for the love of God, rent movers. But you know, it's all about what you can spend, but you need to know that it's going to be an expensive thing. And it's not easy, and it's extremely frustrating, but if you know ahead of time that you're going to have to spend money, then you'll have that already in your mind, and it won't be as big of a stressor as it should be. Also, in terms of things, there are a lot of fees when you go to look for apartments. Application fees, sometimes broker fees. Try to avoid broker fees. You can look at no fee apartments and stuff like that, and there are apartments that do not have broker fees, so if possible, please do not pay a broker fee. So now we're moving more into the actual packing and moving process. So the fifth tip I have is to start early. So pack up as much stuff as early as you can get your boxes. I'd say get your boxes, depending on how exactly you're going to move stuff, I'd say get your boxes about a month in advance and start packing up things that you don't need. And also, how fast of a packer are you? That factors into things. But if you know you can't devote several days exclusively to packing, then you should get your boxes ahead of time, and you should start packing things up very early. There are things you have that you can deal without, so you should pack up all that stuff first, leaving the essentials for like the last week or a couple days. Find places to donate. I donated a lot of stuff to Goodwill. There are certain charities that will come to you. Again, with COVID-19, it's a little bit difficult because a lot of like thrift stores and local places are not open, and some places are not accepting donations because they don't want any sort of contamination. I still have stuff to donate after getting to the apartment and realizing I have stuff that I don't need or I don't have space for. That'll come up in a little bit. I need to get rid of it, but I'm trying to find a place, and I think I did, that will come to me, and I'm just going to call them to verify to do that. But most things can be donated if they're in good condition. If not, they can be recycled. If you have a clothing or fabric recycling bin in your area, I know back home in Florida there were a lot of them set out like outside of Target or Dollar General and a lot of places like that. I also donated a lot of unopened food, because if I had cans and boxes and non-perishables sitting for a year, even if I would think about eating them, in the future, I don't need to take them with me because I don't need any more stuff to carry on to. The seventh tip is to set up daily or weekly tasks for everything. It can be in things of, I want to pack up this today, I want to donate this today, I want to do this. It is so much easier if you break things down in terms of doing little tasks. I broke things down based on, I wanted to get this, I had like weekly goals, and then I had daily tasks. So the daily tasks are going to be smaller, the weekly goals are going to be larger, overarching things. But that goes for anything. You can break things down that way. Number 8 is something that I needed to hear other than don't hoard. I didn't include that, but because that's nothing to do with moving. That's just personality wise. But don't feel obligated to take everything with you. This goes back to the donating thing. If you don't think about things that you want, I mean, you should keep things that you want, but if you're moving, especially if you're not getting movers and you know how big your vehicles are and it's going to be a lot, don't take everything with you. You can let things go and it will be okay. Even stuff that you feel like you might want or something like that, but you think you could find a replacement, don't take it. Leave it behind. Take it down to a basement, take it to the street, donate it, do whatever, but don't feel obligated to take everything with you. That's like my most important, because I needed to keep that. Next one goes along with that. Don't buy too many things in preparation. You can buy things later. So I didn't have a dresser. I didn't have this delightful tapestry behind me, because why would I buy a dresser or buy something large or even something smaller, buy little appliances and stuff that you think are going to be nice for a new apartment? Don't buy them ahead of time. Just buy them, get all your stuff inside, unpack everything, get everything ready to go, and then buy it later. Or you could just buy it online and send it to your new apartment. That way you're not getting something else that you're going to have to take with you. And the last tip I had that I have not realized for the past 4 years or so, which is understandable because I am on a budget, I am young, I'm trying to be a working professional, but COVID is painful, so I don't particularly have that much money, is that furniture and appliances are investments. So I have bought several cheaper items in terms of furniture, in terms of appliances, because I tend to be a quantity over quality person, which is the absolute opposite of what you should be. But furniture is something that you're going to want to have for a very long time, so you may as well buy something that is nice quality, and a nice quality item is probably going to be more expensive. My dresser is particularly nice, and I did happen to get my bed frame secondhand, but they're both from IKEA. So IKEA can be kind of, exception-wise, but IKEA does have some cheaper options, like less quality options, but also has some higher quality options. My dresser wasn't super expensive. It was under $200, but I would say that it is a quality item versus like the $40 cube organizer I bought 2 years ago at Target that I no longer have. That was not a quality item. It's a cheap item, and they're meant specifically for college students to have for a couple years and then get rid of, which is exactly what happened. So, work within your budget. Even if you don't have a lot of money, just know I think it's a little bit better if you're going to buy an item and maybe spend a little bit more money on it. It's more economical in general to be buying a better item that's going to last you a lot longer versus maybe a cheaper item that is only going to last 1-2 years tops. So those are my top 10 tips for moving. I hope this is helpful. I'm not really sure. I just wanted to, share my experience with it since I did just move, and maybe, if I'm able to help somebody with any of this, maybe one of these tips is something you needed to hear, then that's great, because I love to share things with people. I love to share advice with people. If you're interested in any sort of advice or stuff like that, feel free to reach out in the comments below. I will be happy to answer anything. If you like beauty vlogs, random videos like this, comic book stuff, I do 2 videos a week on a variety of different topics. The next video after this will be the Wonder Woman panel from DC Fandom, because we're probably getting more information on the movie, as well as I'm also taking suggestions from other panels from DC Fandom, because I'm super excited since Comic-Con was a complete bust. But yeah, so if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye!